Russia has historically had one of the world's most impressive military parades. Since the end of World War II, the Russian military has marched every year at Red Square in the capital, Moscow. On May 9th this year, Russia celebrated the 64th anniversary of its victory over Nazi Germany. About 9,000 soldiers and officers participated in the parade, and 69 aircraft flew over the capital. France's Bastille Day is characterized by a massive military parade every year. It is traditionally an international affair, with French troops marching alongside their foreign counterparts in the parade. This year, German and Indian troops joined the Bastille Day parade. The parade opened with 9 Alpha jets of the French patrol. The squadron flew in a V pattern, emitting a tricolored flag with smoke generators. Modern French military units marched down the Champs-Élysées. French President Nicolas Sarkozy revealed a parade of thousands of men and hundreds of military vehicles. Across the English Channel, the United Kingdom's military parade is renowned for its display of pomp and ceremony. Britain's armed forces paraded to celebrate Queen Elizabeth's birthday. Nearly 1,500 soldiers marched in traditional uniforms of household cavalry, Royal Horse Artillery, and Foot Guards. More than 400 musicians from 10 bands kept the beat alongside the famous drum horses of the mounted bands.
Well, let's come back to our own military parade, the military parade of the People's Republic. That has to go back 6 decades when China, the People's Republic of China was founded. The first military parade of the People's Republic was actually conducted on Tiananmen Square. Back then, things were totally different because most of the equipment were taken over from Japanese or other troops. What is the situation back then?
Yes, I think that has a lot to do with Chinese history. As everybody knows, Chinese military develops from a farmer's background. So we virtually could not produce any weapons of significance before liberation. So all that we have are those we have taken from the enemies. So that is the case with the first parade on the establishment of People's Republic of China. That is what we can only see. But things have, of course, changed a lot since then.
So how is the equipment industry developing over the past 2 years, General Zhu, inside the People's Republic?
Actually, after the 60 years of development, the Chinese defense industry have developed a whole series of industries which is capable of making any sort of advanced or sophisticated weapons at home.
And actually, the defense minister said China's military now possesses most of the sophisticated weapons, including the J-10 fighter, submarines, the latest generation of tanks. Do you think it is commensurate with China's general national power?
Yes, of course. I think the sophisticated weapon systems is a very important component part of the national power or a comprehensive national strength. We are now possessing almost everything that the advanced countries are possessing.
And 60 years ago, when China, the People's Republic was founded, we had a little foundation to start with. So what did the creation of the People's Republic mean for this people?
Well, nowadays, looking back at the history, I think the founding of the People's Republic was there are many ways to look at the significance. It was a new beginning in the sense that it began to provide a stable government for China. This has been missing for China for the previous, say, 100 years, especially as most of the Chinese history from the Opium War that started in 1840. There was decades after decades of chaos. So that has been the single most significant contribution to the development of the Chinese nation, the race, that is to say the founding of the People's Republic 60 years ago on this day, started to provide a stable government that started to offer effective governance of this land.
And also, before 1949, for almost 100 years, China has been troubled with foreign invasion or aggression.
Exactly. Then that's also why I think we need to think about military strength. That is to say, we have a Chinese saying that says 居安思危. That is to say, you don't necessarily have a war on the horizon that's immediate threat, but nevertheless you have to think about the rainy days. In other words, military hardware, especially the training of soldiers, are a must.
That's the starting point of the People's Republic. 60 years ago, the People's Republic of China was born, opening a new chapter of history in the world's oldest civilization. And now, let's look back at 60 years ago when the People's Republic was created.
After 8 hard years of fierce fighting, China achieved a victory in the war of resistance against the Japanese aggression on August 15, 1945. Under the leadership of the Communist Party of China, the people then engaged in a tremendous struggle with the ruling Nationalist Party, or Kuomintang, over what kind of state should then be built. Regardless of strong public desires for peace, democracy, and unity, the Kuomintang government broke a previously negotiated truce treaty and political consultation conference resolution. It then waged an all-out civil war, persecuting and oppressing members of democratic parties. The Communist Party of China stood up to the Kuomintang and rallied its forces. Politically, the CPC organized and led a Democratic United Front. Economically, it protected national industry and business. Eventually, over the course of the ensuing 3 years, the CPC, with the support of the Chinese people, won the civil war. On September 21, 1949, the first session of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference was held. Representatives, including the CPC, democratic parties, and those with no party affiliation took part. The session proclaimed the founding of the People's Republic of China. The new nation's founding ceremony took place at Tiananmen Square on October 1, 1949.
Well, that's 60 years ago when the People's Republic was created. Actually, the first generation of Chinese leaders met such a question. They are not the rule followers, they're the rule makers. They have to start from scratches. What is the challenges facing them back then, 60 years ago?
There was no rule. Every rule had to be made. I think, as many people will recall, this was a country that was very chaotic, and in some most statistics will tell you, even in the urban areas of China in those days, you had some 85% of illiteracy rate. So they had to start everything from scratch. And in that connection, I would say the creation of, say, some symbols, what we call icons in political management.
Yes. A lot of things were actually discussed in the framework of what we call the political consultative conference system.
That's right.
Because back then we don't have a National People's Congress in place.
Right.
That's where the CPPCC is doing its work.
That's right. This year, I believe some of our viewers, especially those in China, will be introduced to a film that
建国大业 in Chinese, the building of the republic.
That episode of history, I heard it's generating good ticket sales.
Well, its box office is almost 300 million yuan.
One of the most phenomenal things. And out of that conference, one of the things that was decided was to designate the design of a national flag, and also to identify a song that really originated in the movie that was meant to boost morale for the general populace, going back to the 1930s.
Yeah.
That song later on, of course, after amendments, became the national anthem of the country. As is true with this nation building in all countries, people rally behind some symbols. In our country, the Tiananmen Square, especially the tower, being one. Second one is the national flag, of course, the national anthem.
Yes. And from then on, the national identity was established.
Right.
And now let's take a look at the two national symbols, the national flag and the national anthem. And for the Chinese, of course, it is the 5-star flag and it's the March of the Volunteers. Let's take a look.
When the People's Republic was born on October 1st, 1949, Chairman Mao Zedong raised the 5-star red flag over Tiananmen Square. Some 300,000 people were present for the debut of the national flag and national anthem. A committee had been set up to collect design ideas. Almost 3,000 designs were submitted for the national flag. In the end, it was Zhenglian songs that carried the day. The red background stands for the revolution, while the yellow stands for brightness and skin color of the Chinese people. The big star symbolizes the leadership of the Communist Party of China, and the 4 smaller stars represent the 4 classes of the Chinese people united under that leadership. Meanwhile, after rounds of discussions, the committee selected the national anthem.
我们采用这个代替我们现在还没有的国歌，就是要鼓舞我们把革命进行到底，鼓舞我们的全民族全民人民的。
The song was originally written in 1935 to honor soldiers and revolutionaries fighting the Japanese invaders in northeast China. It was originally the theme song for a film. The lyrics were written by Tian Han and music by Nie Er. After the first flag raising, the job was handed over to Hu Qijun from the Beijing Electric Power Company. In the 1970s, soldiers of the Beijing garrison took over the task. In 1991, changes were added to the flag-raising ceremony. 36 honor guards raised the flag in 2 minutes and 7 seconds, the time it takes for the sun to rise above the horizon. Now, every morning, the 5-star red flag rises at Tiananmen Square to the March of the Volunteers. The event attracts thousands of people from around the country.
You're watching CCTV International. You can also log on to our website, english.cctv.com. And also, you can send your comments to our email address at cctv9@cctv.com. Stay tuned with us throughout the day for our special coverage.